Hey guys, we got a special episode for you this week. We're going to sit down and talk about these two cars with Paul and Fred. Buckle up, put it in gear. Let's get the show on the road. So here we are with Paul and Fred. How long have you guys known each other?
2005.
2005. That's when you got the car, right?
Yep.
And Paul felt a need to come in and tell you how to do stuff, right?
Well, I found everyone kept telling me I needed to meet Paul Briette, and finally, one day I met him. He had a 77Z at that point, and the rest is history.
Actually at that time I had the trifecta of Nissans. I had the 77 Datsun 280Z, the 72 510 wagon, and a 68 Roadster.
Oh, that's right. You did have a Roadster.
All at the same time. I had all three vintage Datsuns that you would I wanted to have, and I still do, but anyway.
Now, when you met him, was his car red by that time, or was it still blue?
It was red.
It was here. It was
really?
It was in 2005, so we were here over a year.
Oh, okay.
And I got the Roadster at the other house, and of course I had the 510 since 1988, so they were all here.
And now you own the 510.
I do.
What do you do with it?
I drive it. It's my camping vehicle and my truck and everything else because it's so practical.
Pretty much the same thing I did.
It probably starts every time you get in it.
It does.
If you ever get rid of it, does he have first right?
Absolutely.
Do you plan to get rid of it?
No.
Didn't think so.
Now, can he come over and borrow it?
Anytime.
Is it that kind of friendship?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then don't buy it back. Why would you waste your money?
Right, just go use it, yeah.
Just go ask him to use it.
Every time I do drive it, it's like a flood of memories. I drove that car for 18 years. It was the car that I literally bought my dad bought as a first car for me.
Yeah.
So, 18 years of driving.
We talked about your dad's in one of the episodes, and you said he had a vinyl top on it. And I had never seen one, but I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, and sure enough, 510 with a vinyl top. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense to me.
It was an option that I don't think many people chose, and to tell you the truth, I don't know why he did. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing that he would have picked. Yeah. It didn't look bad, but he wasn't the kind of person that would pick something that would cause rust or anything later. It just was an odd feature for him to add.
Yeah. So both of you guys have talked about taking these cars to the Midi and Road Atlanta. How many miles is that from here?
Is it 1,200 round?
Round trip.
Yep.
Round trip, 1,200 miles. And you've done it in the red one.
I've done it in a lot of cars that were really sketchy. I've made it.
And you've done it?
Many times in the 510 because it's so good for that since it holds a lot of stuff. Yeah. This has been 2 or 3 times, and plus all the other various things I've owned over the years.
Right.
Oddly, the only car that ever failed on me in the trip was the Z.
Because the fan blew apart.
The fan broke, and we took it the next year, made it just fine, but that particular year, that fan let loose, and that's the only car that ever failed me and had to be limped home.
You guys plan on taking these together this year? Or actually next year, because we're not at the end of 2024 yet.
Right. Within a couple of days this
close.
year.
Yeah.
Do you guys have other people that go with you? Do you meet up with people on the way?
We have a plan.
Mm-hmm. What's that plan?
If she agrees to it.
Oh, she doesn't know about this plan
Well,
yet?
we mentioned it, but we haven't finalized it. But the ideal situation would be for her to take Mariah to take the 4Runner with all the camping gear, the cooking gear, the tents, all the stuff that won't fit in Z's.
Right.
And we drive both Z's. That would be ideal.
Yes. Ideal for who?
Everyone.
That doesn't sound ideal for Mariah.
But she'll be fine.
And she could be your chase vehicle. You gotta have all the tools.
Absolutely, 100%. We put all the spare parts, the tools.
Another fan.
Who?
You put another fan in case your fan blows up?
Oh, cooling fan.
Yeah,
I thought you meant like someone who was a fan of our cars.
No. Do you guys make any stops on the way? Because I know I've told you have to stop at Barber Motorsports in Birmingham.
I mean, yes, I want to go. I'm not saying no, I don't want to go there. I'm saying no, we don't really generally make recreational stops, just food and peeing. Food, fuel, and peeing.
You have to stop at Barber. I'm telling you.
We do.
It's
He's
amazing.
been.
It's amazing. I've been several times.
But
It's incredible.
so you know Paul as well as I do.
Oh, yeah.
He needs like a day in there.
Easily.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of thousands of motorcycles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And
incredible.
So it is the world's largest Lotus collection and the world's largest motorcycle collection, I believe.
You had me at Lotus.
I mean,
unbelievable.
pictures and videos do it absolutely no
We
doubt.
really go straight through though. We hit I-10, hit
65.
and then go straight through
Yeah.
Atlanta as fast as we can, which is not that fast. I have actually been, 8 lanes right there
It's
in the middle
crazy.
of Atlanta. I've been in the middle lane of 7 or 8 lanes, whatever it is, going through downtown Atlanta in an MG. I've been in a Datsun Roadster that had a history of dying on the way on the trip so far
Right.
because of fuel filter issues. So I'm sitting there idling in dead stop traffic thinking, looking around at 18 wheelers,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at lug nuts,
Yeah.
and saying, this thing could die at any moment. That's nerve
Or
wracking.
they could change lanes and you could die.
True. Yeah. More of my concern was it dies and where do I go? And
Yeah.
plus I'm going to stop. Oh man, some people would be mad at me.
Yeah.
But I did it a bunch of times.
So there's no way to get to where you're going without going through the middle of Atlanta.
Or way out of the way.
It would be highly
hours
inefficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
out of the way.
Now this year they had Hurricane Helene pass through, kind of cutting that area off. Is that going to mess up any of your trip?
No, I don't think so.
You met Paul in 05 when you got your car. Everybody said, you have a Z, this is the man to
Yes.
know. How much has that helped?
Amazingly. Plus he's my inspiration now with this.
Yeah.
He's inspired me to do all the delayed stuff that I've always wanted to do to
Well,
this.
you changed
And
the
the
bumpers
bumpers,
today.
for example, are brand new as of today, thanks to Paul. And he said he was ordering bumpers. I said, I got to get it on
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, but can we reverse that though? Because this car is inspiring. I mean, you want your car to be this nice, so there
Yeah.
we go. I'm working toward that.
Little mutual inspiration there.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Having and Cliff is here also. We'll look at his car maybe in another episode. We'll
Right.
maybe do some filming tonight or next time. Another 260. Everybody that has these cars communes together
Right.
and figures things out along the way.
Right.
Get some progresses and makes them all
Right,
better.
yeah. So Cliff was messaging me as soon as he saw, I think, episode 1.
Yep.
And would not leave me alone. I'm like, God, I'm busy. and
He said that.
he was just, I'll go work on it for free. I need some beer. That's all I need.
Yeah, well, that's what fuels us.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I hooked you guys up, and his blood is on the car.
No, that's fine.
That's your blood?
I bled.
Okay.
He has though.
He has
it just
bled.
didn't get on the car.
The MIDI. I looked it up because I didn't know what you were talking about. The MITTY. Why is it called the MIDI? What's that word mean? Is that an acronym
there's a
of
book called the
something?
Walter Mitty. It's the
So it's
Walter
a
Mitty.
person.
It was a person, a character from a novel, I believe, and I don't remember the story at the moment,
It's,
unfortunately.
but it's a vintage race. Are all the
Right.
cars vintage?
Yes.
It's just an event
Right.
that all those guys come together and just have a good time.
Is it actual competition?
No, not so much. I mean, it
People
is.
they're just driving.
They drive hard though.
They do. They definitely are getting it.
I don't think there's any points given or anything like that. I don't think it's a
Right.
sanction.
There's no first, second, third on.
Oh, there
there
are.
is.
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't think it counts to their points for the year. I could be completely wrong. Correct us in the comments, but I think it's just a more of a lighthearted event.
Right, and you guys camp at the track.
Yes.
You just pick a spot and then.
We have a spot.
We've been in the same spot for the past, oh my gosh,
We own that spot.
14
We
years or
Those are all
something.
reserved. You have to
No,
reserve.
Not
No.
reserved.
show up early.
Just show
But
up
I mean,
early.
even when we get there late because we're stuck in traffic in Atlanta or something,
Right.
We know people from Indiana and other places that
They
go there,
save your spot.
and they've actually saved our spot for us in the past,
Right.
Yep.
Just because we've always been there.
Yeah. Now I've been to Daytona, Rolex 24, and there's campers everywhere. Infield is absolutely impossible to get a camping pass to. It's thousands of dollars if somebody lets one loose.
Right.
They've just all been in there, and they have people that just rent campers from town. That company will go set it up in their spot.
Right.
Yep.
These people will just fly in, take an Uber to the track, and their campsite's already set up. That's not roughing it. What you guys are doing is more like what I want to do.
We sleep in a tent. But we do have friends that they one of them lives local, but the rest of the family, the rest of the brother and the dad,
Right.
I'm not sure the order of the family members, but some of them live locally, and the ones that don't, they do rent a camper and have it delivered.
Really?
And yeah, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
But they come from all over the place, and
So for them, it's easier. It's a better deal for them.
And it's also, there are no reserve spots, so they rent it and park it there. And
the guys I'm talking about park their McLarens out by the camper once they get there.
Right.
Or their GT3 RSs, and you can tell they did not lift a finger to get that camper ready.
Yeah, we set up our own tents.
Right. We drive our 50-something-year-old Datsuns there and then set up our tents.
Yeah,
And how long does it take to get there?
9-10 hours.
it depends on Atlanta.
It all depends on the traffic, right?
Yeah.
I guess the statute of limitations is out on my speeding, but I made it back from Atlanta to this driveway in 8 hours once.
Nice.
8 hours.
Which car was that in?
The Z. On the way home in the Z, my average speed was including gas stops, and I mean theoretically, allegedly, allegedly, I made it back at an average speed of 86 miles per hour, including gas stops, and I cannonball runned it.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Any of the other people you meet up with have Z's, or is it a Datsun thing? Is it like all your friends are just whatever?
Just whatever. They all show up in different, whatever they got that year. There are a few diehards. There's a group of Datsun 510 guys that are there every year from Florida, and they always they show up and drive. They show up.
Where are they really from? What is their country?
I'm not sure.
They're from another country.
Well, they're not. They're.
Well, Florida is another country.
No, I mean they're from Florida,
but they're. It's not Jamaican.
No.
But whatever it is, they cook an awesome pig in the ground. Like in the ground.
Yes. That's another thing. What do you do for food? Do they have how's the facility? Because look, Daytona's set up, man.
Oh yeah.
There's indoor showers. There's a food court. Yeah. I mean, well, if you want, it's like a town in there. But how is it over there?
If you want Sonny's barbecue or a hamburger or something, they do have stands set up. But we normally just go to the store.
Are there trams running around? Because again, Daytona, there's a tram everywhere you want to go. You don't even need to walk.
You bring your pit bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or drive the car.
Yeah. It's also a big. You can just cruise around in your car.
I'm gonna have to go with you guys one year.
Absolutely.
And there's a car corral on Saturday and Sunday where you park by nationality of your vehicle, and there's everybody congregates in that open area.
Right. I'm sure you guys have met a lot of people there.
Oh yeah.
Probably still stay friends with them. Yep. You need parts, need help on something, you can probably reach out to any one of them.
Absolutely. I had a guy that I met there last year. He used to own 510s. He brought me a ton of 510 parts when he was on his way to visit a family member in Shreveport. Yeah. And he was coming from Florida, and another gentleman. And but he stopped in Lafayette and brought me everything. Just a guy I met at the races, Right,
like we've talked about before, the people that own these cars and old cars in general,
right?
They want to help other people who own the car.
Right.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter if it's a muscle car, whatever it might be, a GTO, whatever.
Right.
If they have the same thing and can help you out, the community is there for that type.
Right. And it needs to be. I mean, there's people nowadays, like we talked about the headliners in the old muscle cars, and in these cars, kids today don't know how to put that in.
Right.
I mean, the cars now, it's just all one piece. You just put it up there.
You can ask me if you want to learn. I'll help you.
Now back to your car. What is the actual color?
It's 918 orange. I've seen it referred to as New Sight orange or
New Sight's the official
orange.
name.
Yeah.
New Sight?
New Sight.
New Sight orange. It is beautiful, and seeing it next to Ryobi yellow.
I love it next to this color. I can't wait to see them in the sun going down the road together.
We never did find out where to put the Ryobi battery in it, though.
Probably nowhere. I'm thinking maybe not.
No, it's a beautiful color. I don't know which one I would pick. Once they're both done, they're both beautiful. Can't wait to see them in the sun.
I only didn't pick orange because there are two in town.
Yes.
His and another one that's still painted original factory orange.
Wow. Is that the Sunbird or something? What's
this?
It's this color.
New Sight.
This color.
It's this color.
New Sight orange.
And it's in a garage in Lafayette.
But there's another yellow maybe. That's
Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Sunrise or shine? Sunrise. Yellow.
Something with the sun.
I think
and
it's
yellow.
sunrise yellow.
And it's more dingy than this. It's not pop.
It's a pale yellow.
It's a pale, yeah.
the color of the 510 originally. It's actually the original factory color of my 510 wagon.
I think I remember it before you painted it the yellow it is now.
And like if you open the back hatch on the inside, it's still original.
Yep. If you want to see what sunrise yellow is.
Maybe that's where I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it when you open the back.
Yeah, because it would have been painted chrome yellow by the time I got back.
Yeah.
So it was already painted Ford chrome yellow.
Right.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get this not on the road, because it was basically drivable when you got it, right? But how long did it take you to get to this point to where you were like, I'm done? Because you're never done with them.
Once I didn't meet my April goal after I finished the paint job and everything, then that gave me time to go through the suspension. I changed all the bushings. I did all the stuff that I was deferring to try to make that trip. It probably took, at that point, the race was over, so it probably took me another year to do that.
Yeah.
And then I've just been driving it ever since. I've never really done much.
Right. Yeah, you just want to just drive them. That's what they're for.
Until now. Now I really have to step my game up.
The wheels were a little bit newer addition. You had other wheels on it for quite a while.
That's true.
Which wheels did you have on it?
Just some generic turbine spoke 1970s
kind of like General Lee wheels.
Yeah.
They look sort of like General Lee, those fin.
Yeah.
Right?
But I've always wanted Panasports. They're not necessarily period correct, but I've always loved the way these look on them. So
yeah, it looks really nice. I noticed you don't have side marker lights like this one does. They're just filled in.
Yep.
Were they done before you got it?
Yeah, and if I had gotten the car with side marker holes, I would have made it just because to keep the stock appearance, I would have left them, and also to avoid the work. But since it was already done, there was no way I was going to drill and cut holes in the body. It was done, and it was done well.
Yeah.
Left it.
Yeah. Paul helped you a lot with this one, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sure you're going to help
a wealth
him with
of knowledge and everything, and I mean helping me put glass in and everything else, man.
I was around a lot. I mean, you did a lot, of course, when I wasn't there, but we would go to Dave's house a lot where he built the car and work on it whenever we possibly could.
Yeah. Is this your first and only restoration?
And to this, yes, it is. I would love to make the 510 as nice as this is.
Yeah.
Gonna happen.
And it's gonna happen sooner than
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm gonna buy that thing eventually, I want it to look right.
On his dime.
Yeah. All right. I might as well,
at my labor rate?
It might as well look great, if I'm gonna get it later. I literally sold it because I didn't have any room and wasn't really using it at the time. It was my daily driver, fixing copiers out of that car with no AC for probably 10 years of that.
Out of the 510.
Out of that 60. Yeah. So it just got to a point where I got a car with air conditioning and I was like, this is nice.
This is really nice.
Wow, this is fancy.
Luxury.
And like, how did I do this? I remember, quick aside story, I was going down Johnson Street one day and it's always, we locally know that Johnson Street can be very stop and go. And it's the middle of summer, middle of the day, and I'm going to a copier call in an office. So every time I would start moving, the vents would blow and I would hold my arm such that the air would go into my sleeve. And I'd get a little burst of air because I was just dripping with sweat. So that was a lot. I drove it for a long time like that.
Then you show up in the office and you're dripping with sweat.
Pretty sweaty, yeah. And then, of course, going from hot to cold, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. But everybody who lives down here knows that feeling. And if you don't know that feeling, go buy an old muscle car, buy an old car with no AC.
So the 510 has air conditioning now. It does.
Yep.
Well, it's got the which motor is it? It's 240 SF.
Yeah, it's a KA24.
KA20. We were right when we talked about it.
Yeah, the K threw me off. I forgot about the KA, but yes, in my opinion, the KA24 and the L series engines were probably Nissans. Now that's in line, but there was the VG30 that I think was one of their best V6s, but they were super reliable engines.
Yeah, VG30 had its downfalls though.
Right. Yeah.
But if you maintained them and knew how to work on them, they stayed pretty good. The
VQ30 had tiny chains, and it was a little bit of an upgrade, but also a super reliable. I know my Maxima with the VQ30 in it had 240,000 miles on it when I went test drive it to almost buy it again, and it ran like brand new.
Right. I've got a Nissan Xterra with the 4-liter. I don't know the designation on. Do you know the number designation on that engine?
The 4-liter V6?
I think it's still a VQ.
the VQ?
I think.
It's got 265,000 miles on
Right.
it.
Yeah, so that era, they made a lot of great engines. And the engines now aren't the downfall, it's the transmissions that kill Altimas and things like that.
Right.
So what's next on the car, Paul? You said you don't want to work on suspension, but at some point you have to.
I'm a little bit procrastinating, but it is going to be a great improvement and a great step in the right direction. When it comes back down off the lift, I do have one door left to build, and I want to sandblast the seat frames and get the seats built. That way the interior is getting closer to finished. I may not put them in yet because I might have to work on, well, I will have to work under the dash. But the wiring, moving forward from that, going to suspension and then engine.
Yeah. You talked last episode about going by some parts that had some seats in the bundle. Did you go pick that up?
That actually happened. Cliff went pick them up for me actually in Abbeville. Brought them back over here and we stripped the seats down. I got two really nice seat frames out of it. The little things though, like that, we talked about that gas door handle.
Right.
That's where it came from.
Okay.
And all of this came from the car Fred previously talked about.
It was my original Z that was so rusty.
These are all parts back here
Full
from
circle.
that.
Right.
Full circle.
So he's welcome to have the dashboard or any parts he needs because I mean they were his, and you can if there's anything we can trade or have or whatever. The car was 14,171. Yep. Car number 14,171, and it is now gone.
Now gone, but you have some parts still living on, just like your 5-speed from your 77.
Absolutely,
all
yeah.
going to be in this car. Kind of explains what we've been talking about. People in this community just come together, and your car is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. He gave me my transmission back essentially.
Did you find any of the chin parts that we talked about where the blinkers mount?
Find as in yes, I could jump online and buy some. I'm trying to get some at a decent deal.
Now, give us an idea of how much is a lot here.
The brand new set is about $300. It's just over $300
For the set?
For the set of all three pieces, new. I have a centerpiece from Fred that's the bottom section. The two side sections are usually about $90 to $150 a side.
Okay.
It depended on how nice they are. Now, there is a guy who I keep making offers of like $50. He wants $65 a piece. I'll probably end up buying those on eBay.
So at
He
least,
won't accept my offer.
At least they're available though.
You could get them. Yeah, I don't need them yet, is why I haven't really been pressing it. And I may decide to put a spoiler.
And you've made a final decision on wheels.
Yes, the snowflakes from my old car, my red car. Snowflakes are wheels off of a 280ZX Turbo. 80 model, something like that, 1980-ish.
82 or something.
That was my
Later
next question: is what do they come from? Because I honestly I don't recognize them as a Z car.
Yeah, they're 280ZX Turbo wheels. I'm not 100% on the year, but you're probably right. It's more like an 82, 83.
Well, we're going to wrap it up, guys. It's been nice sitting here with Paul and Fred talking about the cars, talking about the friendship, talking about the time they spent working on each other's cars. And driving them together. I mean, that's the main thing here. We're not going to build these cars just to have them sit in the garage, right?
Never.
No.
Never.
This ain't no museum.
No.
They're building these cars to do exactly what you should do. Drive it.